Good morning, everyone. Thank you for bearing with us through those little tech issues that we had this morning. It is truly a joy to have you in this gathering as a community, in this sacred space for connection and reflection. Buenos días, muchas gracias por quedarse con nosotros a través de los problemas técnicos que tuvimos esta mañana. Es una alegría realmente reunirnos con ustedes en este espacio de comunidad que es sagrado junto con conexión y reflexión. I am Paola Turandot. I'm a proud member of this fellowship and one of your service leaders for today. Whether you're joining us for the first time or have been part of this journey for years, we are really grateful for your presence. Yo soy Paola Turandot, orgulloso miembro de esta congregación y una de las líderes de servicio del día de hoy. Ya sea que nos acompañen por primera vez o hayan sido parte de este camino durante años, estamos realmente agradecidos por su presencia. Here, we are all welcome. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever your beliefs or whom you love, this is a place where you can bring your whole self. Knowing that our shared experiences enrich and uplift us all. Together, we create a community rooted in love, curiosity, and growth. Aquí, todos son bienvenidos, sea quienes sean, vengan de donde vengan, cualquiera que sean sus creencias o a quien amen. Este es un espacio donde pueden ser plenamente ustedes mismos, sabiendo que nuestras experiencias compartidas nos enriquecen y elevan a todos. Juntos creamos una comunidad basada en el amor, la curiosidad y el crecimiento. Before we begin our service, we want to extend a warm welcome to our visitors and share a few announcements. Antes de comenzar nuestro servicio, queremos dar una cálida bienvenida a nuestros visitantes y compartir algunos anuncios. We truly welcome all of our visitors this morning. It's always wonderful to see new faces here in Aldea. If you're a visitor and would like to stand so we can all see you and then we can greet you later, that would be great. That would be easier to find you. I have someone over there. Damos una cálida bienvenida a todos nuestros visitantes esta mañana. Siempre es maravilloso ver caras nuevas. Si alguien más gusta ponerse de pie para que podamos identificarlos y personalmente darles la bienvenida en nuestro coffee break, es el momento. Okay. After the service, those on Zoom can stay connected and visit with others in the main room for discussion. Visitors on Zoom can type in your name and how you heard of us and where you're from in the chat box so others can greet you later. Después del servicio, quienes están en Zoom pueden quedarse conectados y conversar con nosotros en la sala principal para la discusión. Los visitantes de Zoom también pueden escribir en el chat su nombre, cómo escucharon sobre nosotros y de dónde son para que otros puedan saludarlos más tarde. Please take a look at your order of service on the back for reminders about weekly and special events. And you can always go to our website, UUFSMA.org, to the activities page and then find more about us over there. Por favor, no olviden revisar el reverso de su orden de servicio, donde podrán encontrar recordatorios sobre los eventos semanales y especiales. También pueden visitar nuestro sitio web uufsma.org y en la página de actividades podrán encontrar más sobre nuestros eventos. We do record our Sunday services, and you can find the link to all of this on our website as well. Sí grabamos nuestros servicios dominicales y pueden encontrar el link para esto en nuestra página web. As we move into our service for today, let's relax and enjoy being in the presence of others. A medida que iniciamos nuestro servicio de hoy, tomemos un momento para relajarnos y disfrutar de la presencia de los demás.
Good morning, everybody. For our opening words, Paola and I offer these from a great 19th century American essayist, philosopher, and Unitarian minister we have learned, Ralph Waldo Emerson. Within us is the soul of the whole, the universal beauty to which every part belongs and every particle is equally related, the eternal one. When it breaks through our intellect, it is genius. When it breathes through our will, it is virtue. When it flows through our affections, it is love.
Dentro de nosotros está el alma del todo, el sabio silencio, la belleza universal a la que cada parte y partícula están igualmente relacionadas, el uno eterno. Cuando irrumpe en nuestro intelecto, es genialidad. Cuando respira a través de nuestra voluntad, es virtud. Y cuando fluye a través de nuestros afectos, es amor. Let's join our voices together in song, hymn 108, My Life Flows On in Endless Song. I invite you to rise in body or spirit and remain so for the covenant. Words will appear on your screen.
respect the interdependent web of life, and work for a just and peaceful world. We encourage the search for truth and meaning, strive for compassion in our relationships, and seek values that will benefit our lives and the lives of others. This is our covenant.
Respetamos todos los estilos de vida dentro de su red interdependiente y trabajamos por un mundo justo y pacífico. Enfrentamos la búsqueda de la verdad y la comprensión total. Nos esforzamos por mantener compasión en nuestras relaciones y usamos valores que beneficien nuestras vidas y las vidas de los demás. Este es nuestro convenio.
Please be seated. I'm the Reverend Tom Rossiello, and I'm minister of this fellowship, and it is indeed wonderful to be with you again. This congregation strives to always be a truly caring community. We're here for each other in good times and especially in difficult times. And if any time you need the assistance or support of a minister or help from our care team, please let us know. Information on how to contact us is on the website UUFSMA.org. To that end, each week, to let people know of what's going on, we share significant joys, sorrows, and concerns of our members and friends. And for each joy, sorrow, or concern, we light a candle, indicating that that person, that thought, that prayer is held in all of our hearts this morning. As a reminder, if you wish to have a joy, sorrow, or concern shared in an upcoming service, please email it to me, or as some have, write it on an index card that you get from the usher on the way in. And if you're on Zoom today, you can type it into the chat now, and Miguel Angel will keep a watch to see if any come in. Our first joy is from George Aronson, our pianist today, and to celebrate that his partner, Lynn Padway, is making excellent progress towards recovery after major surgery 3 weeks ago, and that she's so grateful for the outpouring of caring support from so many in this wonderful place called San Miguel. And George would like to dedicate today's closing song to his partner. Now, George, I have to say, I took a quick look and I thought, it isn't Jeepers Creepers, I hope. I hope it's Embraceable You. No, it's the hymn? Embraceable You. That's what I thought. I had to put a little humor in there, so. Okay. I looked quick and I thought, well, I'm not sure where to go with that. All right. Donna Sherbrooke. Donna Shoebrooks, and I'm going to say her name right. Sadly, is moving back to Connecticut on Wednesday, and her devoted women's group, Mis Hermanas, is very sad to lose her here in San Miguel, but happy she's going back where she can get the care and treatment that she needs. And Donna also has sent in a joy and concern. Today, as she said, today is her last day, and she's moving back to Connecticut so she can use her medical care for her cancer treatment, which is not covered in Mexico. It's truly bittersweet, she writes, as I have some good friends in Connecticut, but nothing like the UU friends here. I've been a member here for 6 years, and it has been a total joy and pleasure to know you. Thank you for all your support and your help with the GoFundMe page. This was really appreciated more than you know. I hate to leave beautiful San Miguel. Enjoy your time here. It goes fast. And Donna, is Donna? Donna back there. Donna, we don't expect you to go only as far as Zoom. And you're now the head of the new Connecticut chapter of the UUFSMA. Kathy Caniper and Dan are also leaving. Dan is on his way to the border with the dog now, and Kathy is with us for her last in-person Sunday, at least for a while. So safe travels and blessings on their know whom, and we will see you on Zoom. In fact, I'm hoping that we can see you and Bonnie and Andrea all together on Zoom in the very near future. We want to light a candle for Jerry Fastrup. He is in the hospital here in San Miguel with pneumonia after having had a brain biopsy in Querétaro, which confirmed that he had inoperable brain cancer tumor. I was with Jerry and Gloria on Friday, and I think they may be with us this morning on Zoom. He was understanding all that I said, but was only able to speak a word or two. Many folks have stepped forward to be with Jerry and with Gloria. Gloria herself is still recovering from the fall, and she's staying with Jerry, so others are supporting her. And they need our continued support. But yesterday was also Jerry's 81st birthday. And his daughter and sister arrived today, and we'll be celebrating his birthday with him at the hospital. And we'd like you to join in by signing one of 3 cards, maybe with a little note if you can write small. These messages will be read to Jerry this afternoon. So please do that, and please keep both of them in your thoughts and prayers. Okay. Clarissa writes, and lighting this candle, that she's thinking so much of her lovely mother, especially on this British Mother's Day Sunday, and remembering how her sister and she would take posies of wild primroses and violets, and how she so loved our sorry attempts at her favorite lemon sponge cake. She so loved and still so sorely missed. Okay. I want to be sure to light a candle for Margot Johnson, who's doing great recovering from her broken ankle. We send her more healing thoughts. And as many mentioned this week, with all that's going on in the world, we light a candle for the blessings of being able to live in beautiful San Miguel here. Of course, our joy, sorrows, and concerns are not just personal to this group of people. We have many retired federal workers, including Jerry and Gloria, in our congregation. And this is a candle of support for their colleagues and all those dedicated U.S. federal workers who have lost their jobs or are losing their jobs as a result of the reckless slashing of the government. Many of these people's lives are being turned upside down and made to feel that their hard work is just not appreciated. With this candle, we want to affirm their worth and dignity and hope that their jobs may be restored. And it's not just federal workers. Next candle is of great concern for all those targeted by the cruel policies of the current U.S. administration. Immigrants, LGBTQ people, especially trans, those who benefit around the world from USAID, including right here in Mexico, and the likely harm that will come to so many others as cuts in education programs, consumer protection programs, and so many other important services are made. But on the other side of the coin, we light a candle of solidarity with all those who are raising their voices in town meetings, on streets, and fighting back in communities large and small all over the U.S. We light our blue and yellow candle again in solidarity and with the support of the people and with support for the people of Ukraine. We hold in our thoughts and prayers all those injured, killed, or displaced by this unjust and unprovoked war, and we pray for an honorable and lasting peace which protects the rights and territory of the Ukrainian people. Our other large candle, again, is for the situation in the Middle East. It's a candle of hope for the release of all remaining hostages. It's a candle of hope for all those families who have suffered losses. It's a candle of hope that peace may come, that hate against Jews, anti-Semitism, hate against Muslims, Islamophobia will cease, and that we will move towards a time of respect and a time of healing and a time where the equal worth and dignity of all people of that region are respected. And our final candle, as always, is one for all the joys, sorrows, and concerns held in our hearts, but which remain unspoken. And now I invite you to silently light a candle as we have some beautiful music and give witness to whatever hope or person or prayer is held in your heart this morning. The last candle I lit for the people of Myanmar and the region there. I overlooked it in my notes, but for all of those people, 1,700 known dead at this point, hold them and all the people, perhaps there's an opportunity with opening up for aid to make greater contact with those people in Bangkok and elsewhere as well who have suffered. So hold them in our hearts and prayers as well. Okay.
Moving forward to a responsive reading, UU number 461, We Must Be Saved, by Reinhold Niebuhr. Words will appear on the screen. Nothing worth doing is completed in our lifetime. Nothing true or beautiful or good makes complete sense in any immediate context of history. Nothing we do, however virtuous, can be accomplished alone. No virtuous act is quite as virtuous from the standpoint of our friend or foe as from our own. Susan will be right with us.
A little consultation. Thank you.
Yes.
This morning, Paola and I invite you along as we share how we've come to see our life journeys and our faith journeys, and how these journeys have intersected with and been influenced by our families of origin, our life choices, the cultures we grew up in, the world around us. Through our very different lives, we've ended up here, finding that UUism provides a framework for exploring what's meaningful and true for us, what we believe about life and the universe and our place in it. Unitarian Universalism is known to be a faith that's open to, and indeed it grows from other traditions and beliefs. This openness can sometimes be misunderstood by those who hold to more circumscribed religious traditions. They can mistake this openness to mean that we don't believe in anything. But I think all of us here would agree that that's not the correct conclusion to draw. I think we, at least it's been true for me, consider that our search for meaning and truth, for the things we value, for the things I value, and that we all come to hold, no matter our ages or stages in life, are very much about believing in something. Paola and I come from different cultures, different generations. We met less than 3 years ago. Most of us here today have just met, maybe today, maybe last month or last year, maybe several years ago, but all in all, it's been a blip in our lives. We've lived lives others know little about, and yet, here we are. Our disparate journeys have, at least for now, intersected here, in this time and place. This fellowship of UUs in the heart of Mexico. What a marvelous thing. Our journeys of faith, meaning, and truth will continue as long as we draw breath. We hope our service today, as you hear the life and faith stories of just two particular people who are members of this fellowship, might touch something in you, whatever part of you is often trying to make sense of your own life, making sense of what you believe, and what, after all is said and done, you believe is your purpose here. So, Paola, welcome.
Thank you. I grew up Catholic. My grandmother has always been a devoted Roman Catholic. To this day, she wakes up every morning at 5 a.m. and starts praying. I grew up believing there was a God and that I had to be good to go to heaven. But my mom was never really fond of the Catholic Church. She grew up with it, but drifted away. When she was about 10, her parents got divorced. And at her nun-run school, she was told that she and her parents were going to go to hell because of this. A little crazy, right? That, along with other painful experiences, distanced her from the religion. Still, she was open to me going to church with my grandmother. She always said that it was important to believe in something. Then, when I was around 7, my mom announced that we were going to church. My mom, going to church. This was new. I don't remember exactly how, but she found her way to St. Paul's. She attended once or twice, and she really liked it. It was a community where she wasn't judged for her past. I remember her telling me that she went to Father Michael and wanted to confess her sins. He told her, "We don't really do that here, but if that makes you feel okay, then okay." She really couldn't believe it. This church was not condemning her. They weren't telling her that she was going to hell. It was a place of acceptance. Shortly after, my mom was hospitalized in a very severe condition. She nearly died. I remember her saying goodbye to me and my brother, but she survived. She was declared gone for a couple of minutes. When she recovered, she told us that she had seen something. She knew for a fact that there is something beyond this life. Her time here wasn't over, thankfully. And the thing that she remembers most is the St. Paul's congregation reaching out to her. "Dear kids need anything. Where can I drop off some lunch for you and your family? How are you?" They even sent her flowers to the hospital. She had only met these people once or twice, yet they were there for her. She had found her community. And so we became deeply involved in the congregation. I used to be a crucifer walking down the aisle with a little cross every Sunday. My parents joined the vestry committee. My mom even considered becoming a priest at some point. And my brother, well, he did his best to behave in Sunday school. It was her life for years. My mom is still Anglican. She believes in God, and she's devoted. But this is about my path. I grew up believing in the idea of good and evil, and heaven and hell, and in free will. Free will. I believe that is a very interesting concept. Free will to do great, amazing, positive things in this world, but also to do evil. That didn't sit right with me. How could God, he or she, allow war, hunger, and suffering? How could someone harm others and then go to church on Sunday, and if they were really, really sorry, they would be forgiving and nothing had ever happened, really? That didn't really quite make sense to me. So I stepped away from church. I needed to figure out if I truly believed in this God. In the process, I found Buddhism. My grandfather taught me how to meditate. I had already meditated before in a Hindu way with an aunt, and I realized it really calmed my the chaos in my mind. It felt safe, and for a couple of years, I called myself a Buddhist. And then, my best friend Diego introduced me to something new. He was invited by an amazing woman named Paola to Unitarian Universalist service. At first, Diego would tell me about the special services. "You should come to this one," he'd said. "Morgana will be singing live." And so I'd find myself here at the Aldea, eager to listen. Then I started coming a little bit more often. I got to know people. I heard it's good to see you again. I get emotional, I cry a lot, don't worry. This is something really special to me. I heard it's good to see you again. They remember me. One day, I attended a service here, and as far as I knew, there was nothing special really planned. But to be fully honest, every service here is really special. I don't remember what the topic was, and I've tried to figure out what it was, but I remember it was Tom speaking, and his words reached something in me that I can't quite describe. I knew I wanted to come back. And then I needed surgery. Unexpectedly, this community, people who had only seen me a few Sundays, railed up around me. How are you? Do you need anything? Why? There had to be a catch. But there wasn't. They were genuinely concerned. They sent me food. They checked in on me. And that's when it hit me. Because we are a community. I am part of this community. We take care of each other. That is something I can believe in. I am proud to be a member. And sure, there have been rough patches, ups and downs, different perspectives, clashing of ideas, but at the end of the day, the beauty of being a Unitarian Universalist is that I can be myself here. It's okay that I read my horoscope and joke, I'm a fire sign, what do you expect from me? When I do something reckless, I know no one's judging. No one has ever asked me if I truly believe in God or if I'm grateful, and I'm really grateful for that, because I never quite know how to explain this. I believe there is a higher power. I do. I truly believe that we transcend and that we are energy. But there is a quote by one of my favorite authors that I really love. This is from Mario Benedetti, and it goes, I don't know if God exists, but if he or she does, I know that they won't be bothered by my doubts. I like being a Unitarian. I love being part of this congregation, and I love that we all have our own beliefs here, and that is beautiful. I believe there is a greater power in the universe, something beyond our comprehension. I believe the moon has power over the sea, and that its phases affect us too. I believe in doing good, in searching for truth, in compassion. I believe in working for a just and peaceful world. And I believe that this is exactly where I was always meant to be. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paola, for that. Beautiful, beautiful sharing. I'd like to share some now about my own life and faith journey. And I'm probably more than twice as old as Paola, and I promise I'm not going to take you on a long, drawn-out journey through my life. A little one. But I think sharing this that I talk about first will give you it's about my formative years, and they kind of set the stage for who I am today, so it's kind of an important part. I was just 18 years old and a freshman in college when in 1968, April, much of the world was shaken, as was our country, by the assassination of Reverend Martin Luther King. Against the backdrop of the civil rights movement and the demonstrations against the war in Vietnam, race riots broke out all over the country. And just 2 months later, Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated as well. He surely would have been our next president. Now, 3 great American leaders had been assassinated in just 5 years of the 1960s. So 1968 felt like a particularly violent culmination of a violent decade. It was as if the country was coming apart at the seams. And I imagine that many of you remember those years as well and have lives shaped by that decade. Staying in college after those events just didn't seem reasonable or possible. And I ended up dropping out of college at the end of my sophomore year. moving on had become not a mantra, a pattern, until it wasn't a foreign concept to me. Until I was 13, my father had been a Marine Corps officer, and our lives revolved around a series of frequent moves from one part of the country to another, one base to another. I think we had 6 or 7 distinct addresses before I turned 13. Now, while as military kids, you get pretty good at making new friends, you don't get very good at keeping them. So impermanence became a way of life. I was excited to leave home in 1967, as much to move away from my unhappy family and my authoritarian Marine Corps father, as to begin a new chapter in my life. When I dropped out, 2 years later, I did what my family history had taught me to do. I moved on. I sought a new place to belong. I applied for and was accepted into VISTA the following summer. Some of you may know, VISTA is the domestic version of the Peace Corps. I was in a new place again, this time Minnesota, to live and work with migrant farm workers, mostly Mexican Americans. I'd never lived in the Midwest, and while I came to love Minnesota, nearly stayed there, my first thought on hearing that that's where they were sending me, when I had specifically asked for the warm Southwest, really ticked me off. Those winters are cold. I did get my assignment to work with migrant workers, and that's a story in and of itself that we don't understand about migrant farm labor, leaving Texas and Mexico, traveling up the entire Midwest, tending our fields, tending, harvesting, weeding, everything that comes to our kitchen tables in the U.S. In those turbulent times, I think we 20-somethings entering VISTA from mostly white middle-class backgrounds were we're answering a call from the world. We were answering a call to somehow be of use. We wanted to find our place in the changes that were swirling around us to change the world. We had no idea how much the world would change us. So although I was a stranger again, I was a stranger with a purpose. The Twin Cities area had seen a growing influx of families who were migrant farm labor, and we VISTA volunteers worked with them to help them find homes and jobs, to get their children into school, to get medical care. We taught English classes. During those 2 years, I met people who were completely unlike anybody I'd grown up with. I made friends with people who weren't white or educated, who didn't speak my language. I learned theirs. And I learned, as a 20-something, how big and complex the world is. The call that I had answered and my response to that call influenced the rest of my life. I went on to a lifetime of human service and nonprofit work when I might not have done that. Up until my 20s or so, early 20s, mid-20s, my religion and spirituality weren't much of a thing for me. My parents had not been at all religious. Pretty much all I knew about the Bible or Jesus was what I picked up at Sunday school at whatever random Protestant church we happened to live close to. I think my mother just took us there so she could have a few quiet hours on a Sunday morning. After VISTA and a rather over-the-top 4 years in Northern California, trying to be a flower child, which I failed at fairly miserably, didn't work. I was a military kid. I eventually moved back to the East Coast. The counterculture, hippie environment of Western Massachusetts in the 70s offered a fertile ground for me to begin exploring, finally, my ideas about faith and spirituality. I wasn't a churchgoer, but rather I dabbled a lot in the humanistic psychology movement, in meditation, and learning the differences and overlaps between Western physics and Eastern philosophies, between Buddhism and Western religions. I went to spiritual retreats, learned a bit of yoga, and in one very cool communal experience, I took part in a fire walk. Oh, most of you have probably never heard about this, but you can figure out what it is. I walked across a bed of smoldering coals, and I didn't burn my feet. So that was as close to an out-of-body experience as I've ever had. And I didn't burn my feet. So after years of impermanence growing up, and even after college, through VISTA, I did manage to settle down for quite a few years in at least one state. I worked for affordable housing nonprofits, studied regional planning, worked with developmentally delayed adults, and continued to be a dabbler. I have always been a dabbler in things spiritual and alternative. In 1988, I took the biggest leap of faith of my life. It really didn't have much to do with faith or spiritual belief per se, but it was a kind of faith in myself, belief in the inherent coherence of my life, as crazy as it seemed. I decided to become a single parent. That leap of faith landed me on the single most life-affirming path I could ever have chosen. And while the direction of my life changed in a million ways I could never have anticipated, becoming a mom has meant that my life journey and my faith journey have been intertwined ever since. In writing this reflection, I've come to be quite enamored of a form of interaction called call and response, which I bet Paula has heard, in the musical world. In this interaction, the words or the music that are spoken, sung, or played represent the call. These are followed by a response from the audience or participants. Our shared reading this morning was a form of call and response. It's a kind of dance in a way of words or music that's common to many cultures and religions around the world. Enslaved Africans brought their traditions with them to North America, and today it's found throughout the African diaspora in the energetic, interactive preaching style in many Black churches and in the genius of African American spirituals, jazz, gospel. What I've come to place my deepest faith in, and I do have faith, though it may not sound much like it, is that the calls of our lives and our responses to those calls are the stuff out of which we come to understand ourselves and to make our lives coherent. Maybe these performances that we call our lives are really just a long series of calls and responses. The world calls us, we respond. We call, others respond in an endless cycle. Maybe out of these countless responses to the calls, we form our values and our ethics, what we most deeply believe about life, the universe, and everything. In any case, this is very much how I've come to make sense out of this life I've had, and I have had to make sense out of it. Life called me. I didn't always understand the call. I often responded to too many calls, or too few, or they were garbled, or I missed the mark. But by and large, I think the overarching call of my life became a call to see myself and others, to see their needs and hopes, their rights to lives as full citizens of the world is no different than my own. My responses to that call, for most of my life anyway, has nearly always been some form of yes. Maybe my faith is as simple as a belief in yes. I don't say yes as much as I did when I was younger, or nearly as often as I should now. I surely don't say yes with the same level of, yes, let's do this, as when I was younger, but I do still say yes, eventually. I'd like to close with these thoughts about call and about covenant. I've been thinking, what brings us here on a Sunday? Are we answering a kind of call? And might the words of our covenant be a response to that call? Our shared covenant can be, and as you use, ought to be, a way of saying yes to one another and to the world. We can get so used to reciting those words every Sunday, we might forget to notice what meaning they hold for us in our lives. Some years back, I ran across what I think is a beautiful summing up of what covenant can mean. In speaking about how she sees the essential core of Unitarian Universalism, a UU minister said, "Covenant is the practice of promising to walk together. Walking together is the precious core of our creedless faith." So maybe that's it. Maybe that's all it is. Maybe all the calls and responses on the paths of our life are really about just learning to walk together. Thank you.
And now, as we come together in the spirit of community and shared values, we reflect on the many paths that have led us here, our journeys of faith, questioning and discovering. Each of us has traveled a unique road, shaped by experiences that have challenged and deepened our understanding of sacred. Yet, in this space, we find common ground, a commitment to compassion, exploration, and the search of meaning. In the essence of the Unitarian Universalist principles, we recognize that our individual contributions, whether of time, talent, resources, collectively sustain and strengthen this community. It is through this shared generosity that we create a space where diverse voices are honored, where faith can evolve, and where all are welcomed in their journeys. We'd like to highlight for you an activity that has become central to our Sunday fellowship on a monthly basis. Under the volunteer leaderships of Anne Greyer and Mary Lou Aguirre, we have a wonderful and growing Young Explorers program. Remember them in your generosity today, as our operating funds support their classes and occasional extra activities and trips. As the offering baskets make their way around the room, let this be a moment to reflect on the interconnectedness of life. Just as our personal faith journeys shape us, our collective support nurtures this fellowship, allowing it to remain a place of learning, transformation, and love. We thank you very much for your generosity. May your contributions in every form continue to sustain the spirit of inclusivity, exploration, and kindness that defines our Unitarian Universalist fellowship. And now, let's join our voices together in song, hymn number 6, Just as Long as I Have Breath. I invite you to rise in body or spirit as you're able.
I have to make one sad announcement that our coffee will not be ready at the end of this service. Stay for surprises and cookies, and it might be done within 10 or 15 minutes. Give it a try and see. Maybe if you like weak coffee, you'll be happy. So sorry. It was a day for technical things and electrical things not to work. So this is Kathy Canepa, half of the couple who is leaving us physically tomorrow. Come on up. So before we close our service, I want to take literally less than a minute just for a few personal words about two amazing leaders of our fellowship. I've worked more with Dan in the past couple of months on Personnel Committee and got to know him as he's part of the triad. But mostly my 3 years have been blessed with being a co-chair with Kathy on the Sunday Service Committee. Everything I know is due to her. And everything I don't know is because I didn't pay attention when she tried to teach me. As you heard from Tom, Dan's already on the road and Kathy leaves tomorrow. We will keep in touch. We know that virtually. And she'll be back. They'll be back. We just won't get to know, we won't be able to know that they'll just be here and we'll see them. But we'll stay in touch. She's been such a good friend to me. She's an amazing co-chair. And you're going to have to be really, really on top of me when you move. So we have Zoom meetings on a continual basis. So she's here with me, and I think she'd like to say a few words, and she'll share the closing words with us.
And thank you, Susan, and thank you for inviting me to say some words, because I'm going to miss all of you. Oh, my God. So Dan is on the road with our dog right now, but wanted me to tell you how glad he is to have the opportunity to continue participating in our endowment committee, assisting Zoom hosting, and mentoring new leaders in the coming year. And I am so grateful to be able to continue working with Susan as co-chair of our Sunday Service Committee for another year. We learned how to do this during COVID. We can do the Zooming. But I will really miss being with you in person and feeling your energy when we're together in this room. It was interesting, so many of the words that you used, I used also, because it has been wonderful and a privilege to walk together with all of you on our journeys, seeking truth and meaning and working to cope with and try to heal a damaged humanity and planet. And as Thich Nhat Hanh says, trying to awaken from the illusion of our separateness. So I love you, I'm going to miss you, and I'll see you on Zoom. Come back.
So these are our closing words. Listen to your life. See it for the fathomless mystery that it is, in the boredom and the pain of it, no less than in the excitement and gladness. Touch, taste, smell your way to the holy and hidden heart of it. Because in the last analysis, all moments are key moments, and life itself is grace. Frederick Buechner.
Escucha tu vida. Mírala como el insondable misterio que es. En el aburrimiento y el dolor, tanto como en la emoción y la alegría. Toca, saborea, huele tu camino hasta su sagrado y oculto corazón, porque en última instancia todos los momentos son momentos clave y la vida misma es gracia.
So we'll please stay seated to the postlude, losing my words just in the nick of time. And then after the postlude, there is cake, big cake, for Kathy over there, so join us.